The Business Q&A, episode 191 weeks of this. And this is the run of weeks where I don't leave the house, though, so this should be an interesting one. It wasn't necessary this week to ask in a poll what topics we should cover, because it was very clear from everyone's comments and DMs over the past week that we should focus on working from home and remote work and selling remotely. And you know, what's interesting is that this is something that literally everyone is doing at the moment across the globe. So it's so relevant to all of us. So with that in mind, it's great to have a topic that we can all focus in on, and I appreciate some people already wanting to jump in and talk about this. So we're talking about remote working. In addition, there's a stimulus package that I'm going to be offering as well as a free giveaway to everyone who's watching, which is applicable this week. There is an additional incentive, and I'm announcing the winner of a third incentive as well. So this is a hell of a kind of a game show vibe this week. But yeah, there's a winner from an incentive in the Entrepreneur Business Group on Facebook. There is also two incentives I will be discussing today, and these are giveaways to help you lot out. So shout outs, hello to Bob Lowe and Gerline jumping in on Facebook. Hello Harjot1478 and Belinda Agnew Original over on Instagram. Put in the comments where you're watching from and if you're hashtag team live or if you're hashtag team replay. I really want to get into this one today to help a lot with working from a remote location or working from home. Over on LinkedIn, let's get you guys rolling as well. So I'm just going to set that up. And what's really important is that if you have any questions about remote working, jump in right away and ask them in the comments. So I'll absolutely jump in and answer those as we go. But before we kick off, I'm going to go through these two of the three incentives. The big incentive, or it's not even an incentive, it's a giveaway. It's not a giveaway in the sense that I'm charging you a bit of money. It's a free giveaway to help people out. So I'll be discussing that in a very short moment. I'm just going to log on here, and looks like LinkedIn, you guys all are online as well, so that's awesome. And I will just do this housekeeping. So who have we got? We've got Intiska from Connecticut, Kancha Balchandan, have I said your name, man? Watching from Dubai. Ashish Rajan watching live from Melbourne. Tim Brown, team live from Surrey, I think it is, south of London. Who else have we got? Anshul Grover, hey, nice to see you here. Quite a few other people joining in as well. Naomi Adamo, I think, is watching too. If you're watching right now, put in the comments where you're watching from, what is your city, and also add in if you're team live or team replay. Are you watching as part of the replay or part of the live squad? So we're talking all things remote work today, selling on remotely, working from home, talking about that kind of thing. If you have a question on it, then ask me. But let's start, before we get into the giveaways, I'm really pleased about this. The giveaways, one of which will have a nomination as well. But let's start with the winner. So, job number one, after watching this live stream, if you have not yet joined the Entrepreneur Business Group on Facebook, make sure you do that. So you go to facebook.com and search for Entrepreneur Business Group, and it's right there. In that group, got about 4,300 people in there now, I checked this morning. We have an incentive every so often. We kind of giveaways for the best comments. And this last week, we had an incentive to give away this book. It's a really good book called Mindset by Dr. Carol Dweck. It's not too much of one of those self-helpy, you can do it, pep talky, touchy-feely, misty-eyed nonsense books. It's actually really practical, and she brings science, endorsed by Bill Gates on the back, so it's fairly legit. I'm not really a self-help book kind of person, but this is very kind of practical and science-based is my kind of thing. And this was going to the best comments in the group on the post, where the question was, how are you going to ensure you thrive during this climate? So I had a lot of interesting responses. Thank you so much for everyone who was doing that. And the winner was Lisa David Olson. So Lisa, you're going to get a copy of this. I'll ship it over to you. And your answer was being creative as heck. We need to step up around the issues and view from a fresh angle. offer courses online, set up Zoom conferences and calls, write real letters to stand out from the barrage of emails. That seems really simple stuff, but I really liked it because it was, you know, it's the obvious things, sure, but it's the things that everyone should be doing as a bare minimum now, to be honest. So the book will go to you. Congratulations on winning that. If you want to be part of these, sometimes it's books. Most of the time I just give away money, like $50 for the best comments. So if you want to have the opportunity to do that, and also there's a lot more value as well. And when they're resurrected after we're all on lockdown, Entrepreneur Business live events all stream live to the Entrepreneur Business group on Facebook. A few more shout outs. Hello, Simon Buckton. Good to see you here. Getting you out of bed, going to the living room, open laptop. Good to see that is happening. Rian Boats is watching as well. Nice to see you here. And Sashyandan Swami and Bloodhound Savage. Good to see you here as well. TK __ 5718. Nice. And Paloma Ceriso. I think you're watching too. Back on LinkedIn, thank you Carolina Manchowski for tuning in from Florida, Albera Bikiki from Ethiopia, Teresa de Jesus, good morning to all of the network, and Ian Tisker has said, I buy every one of the books you give away anyway, so if you haven't got it, I only ever give away books I've read and therefore endorse myself. This is a really good one, so I'd check that out if I was you. Idris Fashan's watching live from Alberta. Dean Siegel's watching live from Dallas, Texas, part of Team Live there. And Naomi Adamo watching from Rome. I hope you're okay down in Italy on lockdown. Look, it's tough at the moment, and we all need to stay home, not just to try and avoid getting ill, but to not put pressure on our hospital services. That's really the main thing. If a huge majority of us will probably get the virus anyway, and I'm not a virologist, it doesn't mean that we should be not bothering too much to adhere to the guidelines. The point is so that we don't have a surge of everyone getting ill at the same time and put stress on the emergency services and health services. We've got to do our bit. So do you know what? It's a bubble you're going to live in for the time being, and it's a challenge. So get on with it and do your best with it. And I think my best wishes to all of you, doing everything you can to kind of make it as normal as possible. I'm going to get into the first incentive, the first giveaway rather. I really want to shout out my friend from Google, Jerry Lee, who's a strategy and operations at Google over in San Francisco. He's done a challenge. So I'm gonna do the giveaway and also nominate. So the challenge is to give away 4 15-minute slots of your time to help other people. I suggest you do this anyway. I think it's a really good thing to do. But in addition to that, you nominate 5 people as well. So here's how it works. If you are interested in 15 minutes with me one-on-one, that will be across this week. Okay, so probably from Wednesday, I will do 4 15-minute slots. You have to DM me on LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram. You have to DM me and say that you would like the coaching, and the first 4 people to DM me will get one of the 15-minute slots. There are 4 of them, okay? It's as simple as that. If you would like me to give you a bit of coaching for 15 minutes, think hard about how you'd use that as well. Do you want to ask me about sales strategy, online engagement, about LinkedIn? Do you have particular questions? Do you just want a nice chat? Whatever it might be, you have 15 minutes. The first 4 people to DM me and say, I would like the 15 minutes, please, will get it. Literally first come, first served, and I will look at the timestamps across platforms to pick them. I will also nominate 5 people to do the same. I think that people should be sharing their skill set and helping out, because a lot of people are kind of under the cosh at the moment. So the 5 people I'm nominating are Judy Fox, Patrick Ward, Max Mirho, Dan Norton, and Mirav Levine. You 5, I'd like you to do the same. There's no obligation, but hey, why wouldn't you help people? Find 1 hour in your week, split it into 4 15-minute chunks, and nominate as well. I'll put the details in underneath. But the first 4 people to DM me will get that, and we'll go from there. Let's jump into the one of the first questions. If you have a question about, oh wow, people are writing DMs already, that's amazing. If you have a question about remote working or working from home, do jump in and ask right here. And the first question here is from Ian Tisker. if you are, well, it's not really anything to do with remote working, but nevertheless, if you're great enough, do you need to sell or inspire? I feel, just to answer this, I feel that you're only great, as in you're great at your thing, whatever. You're only great as a perception by others. You may think you're great, that's called ego, but if other people think you're great, it tends to mean you may well be. Being great at something is a perception, typically, either that you have, but more importantly, that an audience or set of buyers may have. So if you're great enough, then do you need to sell or inspire? I would say it's still important to help people buy. It's still important to help people to go through the process of buying something by selling to a degree to them. And what I mean by that isn't necessarily that you're going to go hard and pitch them. If you're viewed as great genuinely, then the demonstrable evidence that you are great is people tuning in and saying, hey, I'd like to buy you in whatever form you sell yourself because I think you're great. So it's them saying that their perception is that you are great. You can help them over the line then. You help them to buy. You're essentially you're the checkout where they then buy whatever they're going to get. So there often is an element of a sale still. But I think really, Ian, that your role, if you genuinely are great, is to try and inspire people and show them that you know what you're talking about, because that will be a way in which you show you're able, and it will encourage more people to check you out. So if you are really great, then demonstrate it. Be a practitioner, share how great you are, and that will inspire people to, be interested in consuming your services because they perceive you as great. So if you feel you're amazing at what you do, it's not good enough unless the audience feels the same as well. So my feeling is the better you are at something and the more that is broadcasted, the less you, inverted commas, have to sell, because people are kind of warming themselves up, self-selecting and coming towards you and buying from you directly instead. And with that in mind, it does mean that less entry point or top of funnel kind of selling is required because people are already kind of doing the hard work themselves. So the ideal is, if you're great, you share it, people believe it, it means that you're just inspiring them, and in fact they pretty much do most of the sell themselves. That's my answer to that. Hope that helps. Give me a thumbs up if that makes sense. I would say if there's any questions on how to sell remotely, that would be something that is interesting to talk about today. Just for those of you on LinkedIn and elsewhere, if you are interested in the free coaching, the 15 minutes, DM me. Do not put it in the comments. DM me. The first 4 people to send me a DM asking for the coaching are the ones who are going to get it. Okay, because some people are writing it in the comments on Facebook, I can see. So let's get into the other question. So the other giveaway. This is the thing I really wanted to focus on today, and yes, there will be questions answered, but this is the thing I wanted to give front and center. So for 2 years, I've been a practitioner of really good results, I would say, of content marketing on LinkedIn. And I've had a course that I built in June of 2018, and it was deliberately made 3 months into it to show how the basics were working. And I was getting fantastic results by then. I had about 3,000 followers I built from zero in the first 3 months. And literally the techniques I'm using in the course I built, called The Basics of LinkedIn, I use still now. Those techniques, called the 3 C's of LinkedIn, are something that I've talked all around the world about. I've done a lot of talks at different companies, but also a lot of different events about this, a lot of universities too. And the 3 C's are a robust way of making sure you're getting the most from the platform. Right now, I feel that leveraging something like LinkedIn is very important for those of you who are working remotely. So for this week only, for this calendar week, so today inclusive through to the end of play on Sunday, that LinkedIn course, because I really want to help people who are in a bit of a struggle, who maybe want to optimize LinkedIn and so on, that course is completely free. Okay, so it's normally $100 access to get to the course. You can get lifetime access to the course for free if you get it this week. I'm just literally leaving it out so as many people as they like, you can have the course for free. If you go to therichardmoore.com, M-O-O-R-E, therichardmoore.com/LinkedIn, it is now $0. You can click on it, you can download it, sorry, not download, you can click on it, you pay $0. Don't worry, I'm not sending you any other spam or anything like that. You literally pay for nothing and you get the course lifetime access for free. It is videos of me explaining my 3C's approach. If you've seen any of the work I've done on LinkedIn, if you feel in any way that me sharing how I've had my successes and generated my inbound opportunities, and just to be clear, almost every piece of work I do now is inbound from places like LinkedIn or referrals because people have seen me on LinkedIn. If you feel there's any value in that, for free, you can access the 5 videos in the training, and I'm literally there explaining in word for word how I do it, and that is my strategy that I use every single day. And that's the strategy I coach to businesses, to clients, and the strategy I use with the done for you approach, because I have that as kind of an agency approach as well. So for free, unlimited, if you want it, you can go to therichardmoore.com/LinkedIn and have that. And I'm doing this because rather than profiteering from people in a difficult place, I want to help, and I really think we should be doing this. If you are one of the lucky people that are all right, and let's be honest, some of us are, because some of us maybe have an online business like me, and some people can work remotely and that's not so difficult. If you're all right and you're still generating income and everything seems okay and you're nice and healthy, so do some giving back, because there's a huge amount of people, and it's not just your city, state or country, it's the whole world that's got this problem. It's super important to try and give back where you can, okay? So I'm doing a lot of online training with businesses. I'm working with one tomorrow, for instance. I'm giving away the 4 consulting slots as well, but the LinkedIn course, if you get it this week, it is completely free and you have access for free. I won't go back and say, hey, would you mind paying now or anything like that. You've got it. So I hope that helps. And you know, even if it's rubbish, so don't watch it anymore. It's no problem, but you might as well check it out. Literally every single day, I generate a lot of inbound opportunities from LinkedIn, and it's helped grow my business in an innumerable way. So I hope that helps somewhat, and I urge you at least to try it out. I'd like to think that I'm doing a pretty good job there, and there's a reason why people regularly call on me. Probably a third of my work actually is sharing how to do LinkedIn right. So jump in and make the use of it. If you have any other questions, then jump in. Otherwise, I'm going to answer one more here. Dan Nunez from Phoenix has said, people who normally work in call centers are being given the opportunity to work from home. I know from personal experience that it can be difficult to maintain a level of professionalism, kids in the background, pets seeking attention, etc. What are some ways that you recommend keeping your workspace conducive to running a business rather than just a place where you stockpile paperwork? You should be paperless by now, Daniel. It's 2020. Suggestions on how to drown out distractions, and I say holding a piece of paper, how to drown out distractions while being accessible to kids that aren't in school. Okay, so I'm qualified to answer this because some days of the week I work from home. I have 2 children as well. One is almost 5 and one is 7, so this is definitely very relevant here. And it's difficult because I know someone, for instance, who has children and lives in a flat or apartment, you might call it in the States, and you know, there's no room they can go to. They work from a laptop on a kitchen desk, kitchen table rather. And then there are others who have it very easy. They have like an office at the end of their garden. I have a house in the 3rd floor of my house, because I have 3 floors. In the 3rd floor, I have this as my home office, so I can, you know, I'll just give you some of the things I do. For instance, I close the door, and when the door is shut, it means that I'm doing something. So my daughters know that is a sign that I'm doing something. If I'm on a phone call, the door closes. The moment the phone call is over, I open the door again. So I've conditioned everyone that if the door is shut, you do not come in, okay? Now, if you're in a call center, it's not so easy, but there's 2 things I'd suggest. One, when you take breaks, make sure as much as possible your breaks are with your children or with your family or with those around you, with your pets, for example. And when you're not working, the same applies. So my theory has been, as much as is possible, I'm going all in on family time when I'm not working. Because what that means is if I'm doing meaningful, not technically in the room and looking at my phone, if I'm giving meaningful time, for instance, yesterday, 2 hours in the garden with the girls, we were doing painting outside, then we were playing with a ball and just generally mucking about. If I'm giving meaningful time to my children, what it means is that when I then go to work, it's not like they've not had some time with me. So I'm trying to stimulate them plenty when I am with them. And I'm very, very fortunate that my wife is home and she can look after them as well. But it allows you to have those times during the day when perhaps the children can do things that are slightly less stimulating. But what I'm trying to do here is have this balance. This is just what's working for us. Have this balance between times of day when we're really intensely stimulating them. So for instance, this morning, some people may have seen this in the UK. There's a guy called Joe Wicks. He had 1 million people almost watching his live YouTube stream every morning from 9 o'clock for half an hour. Mostly school kids around the country. They're all tuning in, doing a workout with him. So we all did that together this morning. And by focusing on extreme stimulation and making themselves really, getting really engaged with them, it means that when you then go and do some work for a period, they can have some relatively chilled out time. So maybe they go on their tablet or watch a film or do some colouring in. And, there's a lot of people posturing about homeschooling. Don't sweat it, We're not sweating it too much. There's a bit of homeschooling here and there, but it's not this robust, structured thing because they'll survive. If they miss the rest of this academic year, they'll survive because they're school children. It doesn't matter. They're fine. It won't matter. This is just my opinion. So what they're doing is, I gave them a quiz. My oldest daughter, I've given her an essay question to write, and so she can think freely and just do some creative stuff. But the point I'm making, to answer this question, Daniel, is by giving them some real stimulation at times, it means that the rest of the time they can have a relatively chilled time and do stuff that allows them to be a bit more autonomous so I can crack on with work. And I want something to be reasonably engrossing for them that I give them. So choose wisely what you assign them to do whilst you're working. If you say go and play because I'm working, that won't work. Because if you say go and play to children, what happens is the children don't know what to do, they don't have guidance or direction, and so you end up with them pissing each other off, getting irritated, and chewing the sofa or breaking stuff, and then you're trying to work, and then there's frustration. So by assigning them actual job, it's just the same as investing. You need to put some time into it. And I'm not an authority on parenting in the sense that I do it professionally, but just as a parent, this has worked for me right now. Is my wife and I have made sure that we're giving our children things that will really stimulate them and give them some direction, give them some guidance. It's worth stopping and thinking, what can I give to these children so that I can be more productive without them coming to me every 2 minutes. So rather than saying go and play, it's why don't you write me a story about this thing? Why don't you paint me a picture of this thing? And give them a challenge. Or like the other day I said to my daughter who's almost 5, why don't you build me a Lego tower? It has to touch the ceiling. Go do that. That's an hour, and just let them crack on that way. So by giving them something structured, it helps. I feel a little bit out of my zone talking about parenting, but it does feed into the answer, Daniel, and certainly it's worked for me as a parent of 2. I'm sure other people, it would be a really good idea, in fact, to add your 2 cents into the comments if you have any ideas on what would help with parenting. I think I will, unless there's any questions on this, I will probably leave at that. But just kind of to remind all, well done firstly to Lisa David Olson. I'll be in touch. Well done, you've won the book Mindset from the Entrepreneur Business Group on Facebook. Jerry Lee from Google, thank you so much for the nomination. So I'll be doing 4 15-minute slots, and I'll check my inboxes across the platforms after this. The first 4 who DM to say, I would like the coaching, please. So make sure you DM. You will get chosen, and we'll do 15 minutes each for free. I'm nominating to do the same Judy Fox, Patrick Ward, Max Mirho, Dan Norton and Mirav Levine to offer 1 hour in your week to do some quick consulting, 15 minutes times 4 with people. And for this week, for all of this calendar week till the end of the day on Sunday, my LinkedIn course on how to do LinkedIn the way I do it each day is completely free, lifetime. Go on to therichardmore.com/LinkedIn because it is hard times, because people are working from home, because people need their LinkedIn. Those doing business really need to make good use of it. Use my course. I hope it helps somewhat. I've only ever had great responses from those who have done it. So jump in, take it. It's completely free this week. therichardmore.com/LinkedIn. I really hope that helps somewhat, and I'd love to hear how that's impacted you. In the meantime, thank you very much. Those who have been watching over on Instagram, thanks also for you on LinkedIn. I appreciate it, and I will catch you all really soon. Thanks also you watching on the IGTV replay and those listening on the podcast as well, and I'll catch you next week. Take care and look after yourselves.